On the extension end of the waistband, use the 2-inch wide ruler and chalk or a mechanical pencil to mark a cutting line that is exactly 2 inches away from the actual zipper. Cut on this chalk line through both layers of fabric on the waistband. Proceed to finish the freshly cut edge of the waistband that will have an extension by again folding right sides together and pinning the short edge of the waistband. You will stitch this at 1/2 inch seam allowance, going from folded edge to open edge, making sure you back tack, going in and back tack to finish the stitch. Once you finish this stitch, please trim the seam allowance down to 1/4 inch and clip the corner at the folded edge of the fabric. Next, you will make a chalk or pencil marking on the interfaced side of the band right next to the zipper. From that point, you will stitch at the open bottom edge of the waistband extension at 1/4 inch, back tacking at the zipper and back tacking at the edge of the extension. You may need to cut a tiny slit about 1/8 inch to release some tension on the fabric right next to the zipper after you stitch this. Again, you will need to take your thumb and turn the fabric out so that right sides are facing out on the zipper extension and create a sharp corner using the crease turner. Take your waistband extension to the iron and make sure you're careful to press and steam your waistband extension until it sits nice and flat. Go to the iron with the inside of the skirt facing you and proceed to use the seam roll to press the seam allowance between the skirt and waistband open. Once this is done, from zipper edge to zipper edge, start pressing the seam allowance upward to get caught completely in the waistband. You will then lay flat the fold at the top edge of the waistband to turn under the excess, which should be your 1/2 inch seam allowance, under and into the band to create a finished folded edge. That folded edge should sit just above the number 2 stitch that you use to apply the waistband. Make sure your zipper is tucked in and proceed to pin the fold with pin point going through the fold and then facing upward toward the folded edge of the waistband. Prepare a hand sewing needle to execute the slip stitch. In this video, I am showing how to wax your thread to prevent tangles. Beeswax is an option, it is not necessary. Your thread should have a knot at one end of the thread. Please remember that you are only sewing your stitch using one thread. Beginning at the zipper where you started pinning, go through the fold of the waistband fabric first to hide your knot. You will then proceed to start sewing, moving in a right to left direction, catching your needle under the number 2 stitch and then through the fold. This is the slip stitch. After marking and cutting your skirt to the desired length, please be sure to leave a 2-inch hem allowance. You will serge the bottom edge of the skirt to prevent fraying. You need to start serging at the center back seam where the zipper is applied. Make sure you're not trimming any fabric. Make sure that the right side of the fabric is facing you. The zipper seam should be caught, the seam allowance should be caught open and flat. Start serging and continue to serge completely around the skirt. Go over your starting point and remember to leave a serger tail. This can be achieved by continuing to serge and easing your skirt out to the left of the machine. Remember, do not cut too short of a serger tail or it will unthread the machine. Using a 2-inch wide ruler and chalk, line up the ruler bottom edge with the bottom serged edge of the skirt. Continue to mark a marking that is 2 inches above the bottom serged edge, which will be the crease line or finished roll line for your hem. Flip the skirt over and continue to mark all the way around the skirt. If you needed to shorten your skirt, this would have been the same process to mark a cutting line before serging. At the ironing board, place the skirt on the board and proceed to fold the skirt toward the wrong side of the skirt, pressing the hem on your chalked line. This will crease in a nice flat hem to prepare for the hand sewing hem stitch, the plain stitch. After pressing a crease at the folded bottom edge of the skirt, turn under the serged edge of the hem to tuck and pin with pin point going into the fold and then facing downward. In this video, this hem placement process is shown twice from two different angles. So a side view and then a view from the top. Prepare a hand sewing needle using the proper length of thread with a knot in one thread end of the hand sewing thread. Again, I'm showing how to use the beeswax to prevent tangles. We will be using the plain stitch hem, which was one of the samples from your sample book, to finish off the hem edge of the skirt. Body of the skirt and then proceed to put the needle through the fold of the skirt. These stitches should be spaced out about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. You should not see thread on the right side of the hem of your skirt. You also should not be picking up more than 2 threads from the body of the skirt.